All right, you guys. good evening, and welcome to the first round of the Digital Electronics Illustration course run online. This is new. So, looks like I've got my screen shared here, and this is the first one, right? We are kicking it off today, spring semester 2024. So, this evening, this demo is going to be broken up into two parts, and I'm going to make two posts for you guys. The first is going to be an overview of the class and trying to give you just a bunch of information to help you navigate the way that we've got the online section for this built out in the D2L, and to give you some guidance on how to be able to best navigate this course so that you succeed and stay up on top of everything. So, without further ado, I'm in the course's D2L, and when we look at that, the first thing that we'll see on the homepage is the announcements. So, the announcements over here, you're going to see this Zoom meeting. This is the link that you're going to use. I'm not going to be reposting this. You're going to need to scroll down and find it each Monday if you want to come join for one of these sessions. This is your optional chance. You are not required to join this Zoom meeting. But if you do, you can ask questions. I'm going to be running demos of the projects and trying to fill you guys in on a lot of the information that I give in an in-person class that, despite my best efforts of trying to build this thing out asynchronously, there's still some little tips and tricks and pro advice that I can give you that are going to help you succeed in this course. So I'm hoping that this demo today is going to start to fill you in and get you started on the right foot. After I finish one of these demos, I'm immediately going to go and upload it, and then I'm going to share out a link to that previous class's demo under the announcements. So as the semester goes forward, you're going to see that these announcements get longer and longer. I'm going to be doing these each Monday, not going to be doing them on Wednesday. So this is the only time of the week that you, if you want to, you can join. If you have other questions for me, please feel free to email throughout the week. When you do email me, please do not email me from the D2L. Don't do this. Go into Outlook and email me from the actual Outlook web browser at wmoritz@kennesaw.edu or from the standalone Outlook app. That helps me an awful lot because I check all the email through Outlook, and then when I try to respond to you guys through Outlook, then I have to go into D2L. We've got a lot of students between these two classes. Oftentimes you don't tell me what section you're in, then I have to go to the class list and then hunt down your name, and then it just becomes a whole ordeal just trying to get back to you, and it's much faster for everybody if you just email me through the Outlook. All right. Thank you for keeping your professor happy in that regard. So next thing that you're going to notice when we look at the D2L, this class has got 7 different modules. So we've got 7 projects over the next 16 weeks that we're going to be knocking out within this course. Each one of these projects. So I've been running this electronic illustration course for quite some time. And I have, it's fun when you get to repeat these courses. You improve upon them, you kind of tinker with them and make them better and stronger each time. And so what you're getting is like the 5th, 6th generation of this class. This class is very much designed to be a gauntlet for you digital illustrators. It is designed to take what you already have, your strengths, and build on those. It is also very much and intentionally designed to challenge you guys in a wide breadth and field of illustration. By the end of this course, you will have a big old portfolio. Let me share something with you. So this is the in-person class's final project. You guys are going to be doing something different, but it's a whole character development PDF thing that they end up creating. What I want to show you here at the end is it ends in a final illustration, but these are some of the projects that you guys are going to be creating throughout the semester. Each one of these projects, in the very beginning, the first one that you guys are going to be working on now is taking an old sketch and then turning it to digital. So taking something old that you've done in a traditional medium and then bringing that into the digital realm. After that, this project, this first one is sort of, hey, let's see what you're working with. Swing the bat as hard as you can, aim for the fences, and then we're going to get a good idea of kind of what kind of skill set everyone is bringing to this course. After that, we take away all those tools that you have, and then we're going to leave you with just black and white, one gray tone, and line work. After that, we slowly start to build in tonal pieces, so black and white with gradient. After that, you've got a 2-color illustration. You can see that in the lower left-hand side with those fishies down there. From there, we go into an infographic. That's going to be our big graphic design project for the course, where we talk about layout design and how it relates to compositional flow, and really get you thinking about these illustrations paired with fonts. After that, there's an environment project. You can see that in the lower right-hand side, where we're going to be building out an environment with some deep background and atmospheric perspective, a middle ground, a man-made object, and then some type of close-up foreground within there. I think it's a pretty cool project. This is my ArtStation. Anywhere you want to find me on the internet, it's at Skato.org. That's SKATOORG. So that's on Instagram, YouTube, Behance, ArtStation, anywhere you can imagine, Facebook page. Skato.org is it. And that's also my website, Skato.org. Anywho, so the final project for this course, you guys are going to be creating a cover with a nice logo that you've designed and a really strong illustration, and then a 2-page spread. This is something kind of coming from the comic book world, where you may and you are encouraged to add frames to that spread. But that's sort of the brief overview of the different projects within this course. Those are all of them. Taking it down a layer, what we're going to see within each one of these projects is, so let's go into course content. All right. So here we are for Module 1 for this course. Let me see if I can get in a little bit closer so it's easier for you guys to read. There we go. All right, so you are going to want to go to, again, that's in the D2L, content, and you'll see the various modules. You can also see the opening dates and then the end dates for each one of these projects. The end date is the final cutoff for that assignment. Due to the nature of this course and it being online, it's very important that you guys stay up to date on these projects. I will not be accepting late work in this class. So it is totally on you to be able to budget your time effectively to be able to get these projects done. And I've tried to also design the course. This is maybe the rub. I hope you like it. I hope it gets you thinking more practically about your time management. That's something over the past 5 years of teaching at Kennesaw State that I've really noticed. You've got those students, and you might be one of them yourself, that leaves the projects until the final hour. And unfortunately, that's just not how the professional design world works. When you're working professionally within a studio, whether it's a gaming company, motion graphics house, animation studio, whatever, nobody wants surprises the day of a deadline and the launch day for a project. In the real world, they want you to show progress along the way so that they can give you feedback and to make sure that we're not making any big mistakes before we hand it over to the client. And that is what we are mimicking here, right? Back in the day, college used to be the equivalent of 4 years of professional experience. Hope that, there's some places that still consider it that. But within each one of these modules, as we start to scroll down, they're all formatted the same way. So you're going to see when it opens. This module 1 has opened today at 8 a.m. in the morning, and then it closes 1:19 at midnight. That's when Project 1 is due. So please, please, please keep an eye on these 2 dates, especially when the project is coming due. As we start to scroll down, there's going to be a lot of information that I've included in each one of these. The format's the same, so we see how to begin thinking about this assignment. Read through this stuff. A lot of times I'm dropping in YouTube videos. I've I've never been a fan of professors just saying, here, watch a YouTube video and figure it out on your own. Hence the reason for me doing these demos for you guys. But the YouTube videos that I have picked are coming from watching hundreds of YouTube videos on these topics so that you do not have to. And these are curated to be the shortest, most accurate versions. There's really something that I want you guys to get out of each one of these YouTube videos that I'm making you watch and requesting that you guys watch that I think is going to help you with the project and help you with your design thinking. None of these are gonna be a waste of your time. So from there, as we continue to scroll down, there's going to be instructions on your different posts and discussion posts along the way. So this is sort of the rub for this class. Let's go. I'm going to go into module 2 right now, just so you can get a better idea of what I mean. So this is the line work project. So for project 2, you've got black, white, gray line, and then one pattern that you can use. Now, as we start to scroll through here, you're going to see that we've got discussion posts that are going to start to pop up. Please make sure that you are getting these discussion posts in during the time that they are required. Here's our second. Each one of these projects has got 2 discussion posts. These are the check-ins. This is you showing your progress along the way and collecting feedback from the other students in the class who are going to serve as your art directors and to help you, and you're going to be helping them figure out how to be able to make these compositions even better than the vision that you already have, right? This is a group learning exercise and experiment that you are embarking on. So within the modules, please read those, write down the key dates. Let's look at it in here. So when we click on the discussions under the D2L, we're going to start to see when the cutoff date for each one of these modules is. So this is module 1, old sketch to digital, week 1 post. We've got, it opens up today and it ends on January 12th. Please, please, please take special note of when these discussion posts finish. This is on you to be in charge of this and to take ownership of it. I will not be opening these discussion posts back up again. And it is very important that you continue to check in with these and check in on your other classmates within this discussion section. So much so that half of your grade for each one of these projects is attached to these discussion posts throughout the course. I know. And honestly, I hope that it's pretty brutal, but I hope that it helps you guys to be able to stay focused on these online classes, to meet the benchmarks, and to work in a professional manner. Just keep on making progress with these projects, and you should be fine. But you'll notice here that the discussion post for post 1 and 2 ends on January 12th at midnight. So that is 4 days from now, Friday at midnight. Within here, you're going to see the second, under the discussion post for module 1, you're going to see the second discussion post that starts up, okay? So each one of these are different. Please read through them. And so that means that you are required oftentimes to post within the same section more than once. So you're going to be making 2 posts within there. You can do it under your same post and then respond to more students, and I'll be able to check and track your progress that way. All right. If there's any confusion there, please let me know so that I can help explain it to you. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. So we've got our discussion posts that are worth half your grade within the course. Please stay up to date. There is no extensions on those discussion posts. When they're closed, they're closed. Same thing goes for when the project is due. It is due, and you will not be given an extension on that. We gotta keep the ship rolling and moving forward. So within this first one, we've got some file setup stuff to go over. I'm going to be talking about all of these things with you for the second part of this demo this evening. Within each one of the modules, it's also got a long, lengthy explanation to know when you are done. You're also going to see what are the key moments within the project to be able to highlight to make sure that you're doing a good job and to think about. And then the techniques that you're going to be using. And there's also an explanation of just what you are being graded on for the overall project. One of the big factors within this class is that this is a digital illustration course. So illustration is such an interesting and fascinating thing. It is a one picture story that you're creating. Let me show you some examples. I remember a few years ago, I took a trip to the northeastern United States, and I ended up in the Norman Rockwell Museum, where they were having a big old illustration in fantasy art collection being shown off there. And it was absolutely cool. They had some of the juggernauts within the fantasy art world that were on display and in person there. And the information on Norman Rockwell was absolutely fascinating. Hopefully we'll get to talk about him quite a bit throughout the semester. But there's one painting here that I want to use as an example, just to kind of intro you into what illustration is. And it's this one, sort of Halloween themed, but I really, really love this one an awful lot. I think that it checks all the boxes for what an illustration should be, right? So within one image, we're getting a story, we're getting a moment, we're getting information about the world, we're getting information about the characters, we're getting a lot of stuff that's given to us. But within all of this, the rules of composition, of design flow, are still there. So when we break down this illustration that's in front of us, the colors, the lines, the shapes are all coming together to help lead our eye to where the artist wants us to focus, which is right between this cat and this witch, right? The witch and the black cat, the classic pairing. And we've got the city within the background, so we know that this is taking place within an urban environment. Urban environments often are made of verticals and horizontals. And with this one, they've used perspective to create diagonals that do so much to be able to draw the lines and draw the attention towards the focal point within this piece. If we look at the lines happening within the ceiling up here, they're perspective lines that are helping to guide the viewer's eye down and towards what it is the artist wants us to look at. The same thing is smartly happening here on the ground with the lines within the concrete, right? The lines of the shadows, the lines of the buildings over here on the right-hand side, this little sliver, are taking us straight down to the bright taxi, and the bright taxi is taking us over to this character, the broom, down the witch, and the witch is almost in a crescent moon shape as she encircles the cat for us to be able to focus on. We've got a side view of the character, but with enough of the face exposed, even with the big old hat on the witch, to be able to let us know how the witch is feeling, right? Everything about this painting, about this illustration, is building towards the story the artist wants to tell. When it comes to the use of value and color and light and dark within this piece, we can see that around the witch on the right-hand side, we've got all these blues and muted yellows that really don't have a lot of saturation to them. But those same colors that are in these windows back here are being used within the ground, just a little bit more saturated as we get closer to the scene. That's helping to draw our eyes to the foreground. The most saturation that we get happens to be on the orange cats here in the foreground. And you can notice that around the kitty cat here, to help the cat stand out even more, that cat is glowing. It's got a little bit of an outline to it. We've got the white chopped up newspaper that the cats are hanging out in that helps us to be able to focus on the black cat and to really make it pop and stand out even more. There are a lot of subtle little things that this artist is doing to really draw our attention. This is an extremely well-crafted and constructed illustration. The body shape of the witch is using curves to be able to, you can see the curve around the witch's back, right? You can see the curve around her forearm as well. And each one of those curves, along with these objects that are intentionally placed, right? More circles, more lines, going back, directing our attention right towards the little kitty cat. This line up here, again, all of these directional lines are built into the composition to be able to get us to focus on the relationship between the two of them. This is a master level of illustration in a very sweet painting. What I like about this also is that not all of your paintings that you do in this class need to be epic. They don't need to be a wizard blasting an orc, or, you know, taking out an evil wizard, you know, casting a fireball. Up until this point, I've found in previously running this class that a lot of you guys coming from high school sketching, drawing, will draw characters, and the drawing of the character is an exploration of that character design, right? So within that character design, you're learning how to draw eyes, you're learning how to draw a character's nose, you're learning how to do the hair better, you're learning how to do folds on the clothing, you're learning how to do clothing, and you're discovering who that character is within the drawing. This course in digital illustration is asking you guys to go beyond your standard glasses wearing, you know, anime guy who's sitting there posing in a business shirt looking super cool, and take it a little bit further. And it's not just about the exploration of what that character looks like, but it's about using that character as a prop to be able to tell a story within your scene and your narrative, and to tell a greater story than just he's a cool looking anime business guy with glasses on that, you know, is never like ruffled by anything. We want to find these moments that are not necessarily world shattering moments that are going on, but they can be smaller stories too. The thing that I love about this one is that it's such a universal archetype that witches on their broomsticks love black cats. And this is that little moment of the two of them finding one another, right? So they're reaching a little bit below the surface in these very obvious stories to be able to tell. I had a student last semester, she really liked to do mermaids, and that's fine if drawing mermaids is your thing. But there was a mermaid wedding that was going on, and within the mermaid wedding, the characters were perfectly posed, almost as if they were on top of a cake, standing there. You had the fish, you know, lining up for the procession of the wedding, for the ceremony. And it's nice that mermaids getting married, but there's no, that is a story, but there's more of a story to be able to tell, right? Like, let's try and say something about how that wedding's actually going. Is one person really super nervous? Did the groom somehow lose the barnacle ring that he's going to give the mermaid, spouse? And if that's the case, how can you tell that story, right? Is something going on at the wedding behind the scenes as people stare at this picture, this illustration, that they can discover? And that's going to help the more that you can build these layers into it to be able to tell the story. This one is universally recognizable. I would aim for that as well. There's, you know, if you're drawing a story from a D&D campaign that you've had going on for the past 5 years, no one else outside of you and your buddies are really going to be able to recognize what's going on within that story or this moment. So think about these universal moments. Think about how we can tell something that a first-time viewer can recognize within this piece and help connect to it and find it endearing. All right, I hope that's helpful for you guys. I have been waxing on for about 30 minutes now. And it looks like we've got two other people in the class, so I hope the two of you are able to hear me all right. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I am about to stop this recording and then jump over into the actual demo for tonight. I'm going to be showing you guys how to install the brush pack within Photoshop. We're going to be talking about color selection, how to be able to get your files set up, and some general working methods for how to be able to approach this first project of taking an old sketch that you've already done and then working on something new. So if you guys will give me a second here, I'm going to stop this recording, pause it. We're going to start a new recording so the two are separated. You know, nothing worse than getting a 3-hour-long lecture that a professor uploads and then you don't know where the actual demo, the part that you need, is at versus where the general information just about the class is. So let me stop recording.